Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Welcome, everyone, and Bachelor fans all around the universe. This is the first installment of Season 19 Bachelor Universe podcast with me, your host, Jim Alexander. Wow, where do we start? A Monday premiere, 3-hour premiere of The Bachelor, Chris Soules as The Bachelor. The debut happened on Monday. And what did we take away from it? Well, obviously, you can read my article at chicagonow.com, Bachelor Universe. That's the way to find it. But this is a larger rundown right now. We're going to do what an episode. So the 3-hour premiere of The Bachelor started off with a big red carpet ceremony that had all the past bachelors and bachelorettes in a big event celebrating the new show. You know, Bachelor's basically become like the Super Bowl in a sense of reality TV, but in that sense that these events, these new seasons are such big deals now that they roll out these red carpet events and have a countdown, an hour countdown to the premiere episode. What we got out of that was basically not too much. You had your Bachelor favorites. The big thing, they had Nikki Farrell from Juan Pablo's season. Apparently, Chris Harrison tried to get her to dish some dirt on Juan Pablo as they've recently broken up. But she just kept on being Nikki. Just denying things. Everything's okay. Oh, he's a great guy. If he was a great guy, why did you go on couples therapy? And why are you not with him anymore? That's something to ponder. But Chris Harrison was pushing. He did his best to try to get something out of her, but Nikki proved to be Nikki once again and just give us a bunch of nothing. She's useless. I mean, at this point, there's no reason to bring her on any interviews or try to dig deeper into the whole Juan Pablo thing because she's just not gonna participate and not gonna talk about it for whatever reason. I don't know why she's trying to save face in a sense, or she thinks it makes her look bigger. It really doesn't. It just makes her look foolish and silly and kind of dumb for just keep on supporting a guy who clearly didn't want to be with her. No sights of Juan Pablo for obvious reasons. He was definitely not there. Josh and Andy were there. And apparently everything's good with them as of that night, but I don't think in reality they're gonna be together much longer, or maybe aren't together anymore. Then you had Marcus and Lacey. They just seem kind of quiet and, in fading away into the background, which is a good thing. I think that's a solid relationship, really. There's talk of them obviously getting married this year, so we'll see how that happens and what happens. Michelle Money was there. I didn't see Cody, though, surprisingly. Maybe he's just training someone. But yeah, Michelle Money was there. And of course, you had our favorite, Miss Crawley. Yep, she was there as always. You need her. I mean, without her, there just isn't. You need that crazy, and of course, Claire brings that to you all the time. So basically, the first hour is just them arriving to view the episode, and just Chris Harrison kind of talking to everyone coming out of a limo had a very Golden Globe slash Oscar vibe to it, which is insane in the sense that The Bachelor's come such a long way where we have these sort of events. But nothing really to take away from it, nothing groundbreaking, nothing that interesting. But what was interesting was that 2 hour episode that really awaited us after all this nonsense kind of came to a close. And boy, where do we start with Chris the Bachelor? Well, I think they did a really good job kind of introducing him in the beginning, the little vignettes showing him leading up to the show and what he had done and his kind of journey. Make him look really cool, taking that bike and then driving, I guess, apparently cross country, which I kind of doubt he did in the fall. And no, that didn't happen. But they made it seem like he's leaving Iowa on a Harley and going straight to LA. Obviously, you got to see his promotional shoots and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, Chris, you know what? The thing about Chris is he's actually as legit as he seems. The guy is pretty darn genuine, and you can't really spin anything on it, except that ABC must be thrilled that they picked him, considering they still have the stench of Juan Pablo from last season, and they really want to kind of move past that and get away from it because that was, in their eyes, one of their bigger failures, and how he's been basically kind of blacklisted from Bachelor events and all Bachelor happenings. So Juan Pablo's gone, and what better guy to pick than Chris to take over the reins? A really kind of genuine dude that they were almost positive was looking for the right thing, and they can feel secure actually with Chris. And yes, so then the episode basically starts off. Chris is pretty nervous, and here come the women. Yep, you have your first limo arriving, and I must say this year, there's a really good crop of women. And obviously, before the episode aired and they started arriving, actually, the buildup was they were showing little vignettes of certain women to kind of keep an eye on this season, and there's some interesting ones. First limo arrives, and it is plenty of chaos. I mean, you have some notable crazies off the get go. There's no doubt about it this season. And the surprise thing really is that you would think Chris Harrison's really pushed for Chris to be the Bachelor. There's no denying that's their guy. They zeroed in pretty early in the process during Andy's season, and he was going to be the guy unless some unforeseen events happened. Chris was going to be the guy. They really wanted to find him a genuine kind of relationship, possibly. A guy that's very successful, multimillionaire, but he just lives at a place where there's no human life, and especially women. And we did get to see some of these women from his hometown during the live event before the episode aired. And boy, they were some of his former classmates, I believe. They most definitely look like they could be his mother or aunts or someone that's double his age. I mean, I don't want to be an ass about it or be a bad guy, but boy, they were some tubs. Can't work around it any other way. I mean, we're talking about husky, big, corn-fed and bred women. So this guy needs anything, any help will help. But you would think that they would set him up with some really good women, like genuine women who are really into him and want to do the farming lifestyle and really are looking for marriage, but appears only Andy got that kind of a good handout, basically, because she really had some solid guys that are pretty genuine on her season, not too many bad apples. But boy, Chris, first thinking is that clearly they're way better looking women than on Juan Pablo's season. No doubt about it. I mean, every girl that came out of that limo was a hottie. No question. But also a you know what, crazy psycho. I mean, you had so many crazies, creepy eyes, you had all that. That was a surprise. There isn't much potential, judging from what we've seen in the first episode, to finding a wife. Now let's run down some of these women. So that made these impressions. So there's Ashley I, who is a hot brunette. She made a good start and good impression. I'm a fan. Then there's, of course, the Chicago people that I'm gonna mention, which is Amber. Amber is a bartender from Chicago. She seemed really quiet. I didn't see her making an impression much at all. So that's going to be something to kind of keep an eye on. Then there's Amanda. Oh, cute blonde from Lake in the Hills, Illinois. But boy, does she just scream crazy. I mean, you talk about frog eyes and to the next level Google eyes, or I don't know what to call her, but boy, did Amanda creep the hell out of anyone. She seemed that yeah, she's one of those that you really kind of want to be awake at night if you're sleeping next to her, because you don't know what could happen. Anything is up for grabs, so that was a bit scary, but uh, thankfully she doesn't last. And Chris, to his credit, I think the guy knows what's kind of happening. I think he's smart in Juan Pablo. I think he's here for the right reasons. I'm pretty sure he is. So think he sniffed that out pretty quick that she is bad. Yeah, that's not a possibility. So she didn't last too long, thankfully. Then also making an impression in that first limo. That was really, it was interesting how they just had kind of like these limos only come. They gave 15 women opportunity to kind of come out, make an impression. That would be three limos for those of you counting. But then they did a cutoff, which was interesting because then they had Chris thinking that 15 was it. And the guy was thrilled, genuinely thrilled. I think that 15 women was more than he's probably ever seen in Iowa. But they kind of teased him with 15 women, and they brought him into the mansion and had him talking to him. And yeah, it seemed that if Chris Harrison wasn't up to something, he was dealt with 15 women. One that made an impression was the first one that came out of the first limo was Britt, who is a 27-year-old waitress from Hollywood. She's a hottie, no question about it. You're thinking Hollywood waitress, not Chris's type, but he was definitely smitten with her. She made quite an impression on him from the get-go. There was a spark, no question about it, and I think she is definitely going to be sticking around. She seems genuine too. He actually ended up kissing her. Yep, his only and first kiss was with Britt later on that night. So she's an interesting name to kind of keep an eye on. Then there was Jillian, who's always flexing muscles. She's a news producer from Washington, D.C. And unless she's going to be producing news about the crops and farming season, I don't see her sticking around Iowa. So, yeah, probably her reign is not going to be too long. She just seems really kind of self-centered and just self-aware in a sense, and she's always flexing, and I don't know what her deal is, but Chris apparently liked her enough to kept her around. There was Jordan, 27-year-old student from Colorado, kind of a happy-go-lucky blonde. It just didn't make much of an impression. There was also Julia, 30-year-old, basically makeup girl and skincare from Oregon, and yeah, she didn't make much of an impression. Also, who made an impression was Caitlin, and she is whoa. Yeah, no question, she's got the looks. But she's kind of crazy. She's 30 years old. She's a dance instructor from Vancouver. Yeah, she is worth keeping around for a while just because of the fact she's so damn good looking, but she's definitely kind of arrogant and crazy in a sense. I don't see her meshing with Chris long term at all, but she's one to keep an eye out for sure. There was Kara, and she's a really southern girl from Kentucky, a high school soccer coach. Didn't make much of an impression. She was gone fairly early. Another girl that was kind of profiled and I can see big things for in this season was Kelsey. That is one person to keep an eye on for sure. She's a 28-year-old guidance counselor from Austin, Texas. Really, really good looking. Once again, no surprise. She's kind of have this cute shoulder length hair. But her story is that she basically she was married and her fiance slash husband, yeah, I believe she was married. He had died. Randomly, kind of unexpectedly passed away. So definitely, this girl will have some baggage. I mean, is she really ready to commit? We were not sure, but she's someone that seems really kind of genuine and nice, and I could see meshing really well with Chris. Kimberly is a yoga instructor from Long Island, 28, and at the end of the episode, she basically gets eliminated, but she begs to stay. Literally, she comes back as they're doing the exit interviews and runs back in the house and pulls Chris aside and asks him if she could stay. And that's where the cliffhanger of the episode ends. And we don't know what happens because does Chris take her back or not? We'll find out tonight. So that's an interesting thing to keep an eye on in the next episode to see if Chris actually kept her. But she's a good looking one. Then there's Mackenzie, dental assistant, 21. She seems really young. She has a child. Uh, yeah, Chris picked her, but I don't think she'll be lasting. I think she's the next one to go, really, on the next episode. There's Megan, 24, makeup artist from Nashville. Cute blonde, kind of perky, doesn't really stand out. Who I really liked and he let go on the first night was Michelle, a 25-year-old wedding cake decorator from Utah. Now I know there isn't probably many weddings to decorate cakes for in Iowa, but boy was she really cute and kind of, I don't know, I think she would fit in with Chris really well. But apparently he wants no cakes or part of anything like that, so he sent her home. Unfortunately, I would have kept her. There's 31-year-old Nicole, real estate agent from Scottsdale, or as we call her, Miss Piggy. She came with a pig nose mask. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of impression that would be, but a creepy one for sure. Even a farmer would say no to that, which he did. The sad part is that she's a really good looking redhead, and there might have been some potential there, and she just kind of sabotaged herself. Like, why would you do this? We don't know. Nikki is a brunette that looks like basically all the other brunettes on the show, like Kimberly and the news producer one, but yeah, she doesn't really set up. She's really cute. She's a former cheerleader from New York City. And it makes you think these former cheerleaders, what are their professions? Because as a cheerleader, you're probably making $100 a game. Not much of a career or profession. So really, what's her deal? Is that retired cheerleader at 26? Cute, but makes you wonder. Then there's Regan, 28-year-old cadaver tissue saleswoman. Yes, that is actually a thing, apparently. And she, of course, made her great impression by bringing a cooler with a heart in it. Yeah. So, what a best way to get to a guy's heart is by actually bringing a heart with you in a cooler. So, if that doesn't scream Hills Have Eyes or Hostel or Saw, then I don't know what does because it doesn't get much creepier than that. So, Regan, a great impression if you're planning to be a lead in a horror movie, because that only works in that department, not with a farmer. So, clearly she was gone by the end of the night. And can you blame him? I certainly can't. There was also. Well, I mean, how do you go from that? That's kind of a impression right there that you don't want anyone making, but you did have some good girls that came after, because I'm sure that would scare the bejesus out of him that we have live hearts there. But there was actually Bo, who is a plus size model from California, which is an interesting concept and theory in a sense. We have a plus size model. It's kind of cool. Wasn't Chris's thing. He didn't pick her. In the later limos, who did make a great impression and had the house spinning in jealousy was Becca. And she was a hottie dressed to impress with a super sexy dress. 26-year-old chiropractor from San Diego. Boy, wow, that's what Chris's impression pretty much was. And all the women kind of unanimously pegged her as the number one top competition, and that's basically just by looks. More onto the crazies, we had Ashley S., who is a hairstylist from Brooklyn who had something with an orange that she was doing. She just looks like a loony, legitimately. Um, yeah, scary to say the least. And there was Carly, a cruise ship singer, 29, from Arlington, Texas. Uh, yeah, I don't see any cruises passing through Arlington, Iowa. Cornfields. Maybe she can sing, like, if you attach a wagon to a tractor. She could, like, perform as Chris drives his tractor through town. You can do that. Maybe karaoke with a bunch of locals, but that's as far as her cruise singing career goes. No future. Then there's Brittany, a WWE diva in training, which is right up my alley. I big fan of the WWE. She's cute, but she was definitely dressed in a revealing outfit, not leaving much to be desired. So and she brought a sign that she wrote something about hashtagging and stuff like that. Kind of trying too hard. Definitely looks like she could not only put Chris in a headlock and body slam him, but probably kick his ass if needed. But he lets her go. Too bad. You know, WWE chick there. It would have been interesting. Probably being a fight or two in the house with some of the other women. Who I really liked was Jade, 28, cosmetics developer from LA, originally from Nebraska, and she's kind of like a self-made girl. Moved from Nebraska with nothing and kind of created her own business. Really cute. Has that girl next door type of personality and look, and it's someone basically that I think is genuine. At really, Chris could find something in if he pursues it. I think Jade is a sleeper in this season. Definitely has got it all, no doubt about it. Uh, there was Samantha, who is a 27-year-old fashion designer from Los Angeles. Really good looking, but looks like all the other brunettes. There was Tendra, 30, an executive assistant from Sandy, Utah. What's up with these Utah girls? Does Michelle Money and Cody have something behind her sleeve with this? Chris picked her on the first night, but didn't really separate herself. There was Tracy, who I really, really like, a 29-year-old fourth grade teacher from Florida. Also seems like really caring, nice, smart, a really solid kind of southern girl that he should really keep around. Tara, oh boy, she made quite the impression. When she came out of the limo, dressed in cowboy boots, Daisy Dukes, completely a southern hickish girl. Chris loved it. I mean, it was right up his alley. Definitely kind of like a farmer chick. Yeah, Chris loved her from the get-go. Really kind of upbeat and crazy. What had happened was that Tara decided to have a few drinks and was a complete drunken mess at the rose ceremony, making noises, stumbling, just a complete wreck, and which prompted the big dramatic moment of the night where Chris basically got too anxious and left the rose ceremony to talk it over with Chris Harrison. Apparently, he was set on picking Tara, but her drunken behavior and craziness made him put a pause to that and kind of second guess it and be like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to pick her. So the drama came down to that, but he ultimately did give her a rose and gave her another chance. I think he kind of messed up, but we'll see. There was Trina, 33-year-old special education teacher. Cute, blonde, but doesn't separate. And then finally, there's Whitney, a 29-year-old fertility nurse from Chicago who doesn't sound like she's from Chicago at all, has a very southern accent, and sounds like she is a Disney princess with a very Disney-like voice. That was a bad impression, but yeah, it was creepy as hell hearing her talk. Really cute, seems nice, but boy, do you want to live with that? Because her voice is just kind of scary. Just she sounds like a 12-year-old on like a sugar rush or something. Cute blonde, but boy, I mean, he gave her a rose. She's gonna stick around, but I don't know who can deal with that just voice, and it's unfortunate because she seems like a good girl, but just such an annoying kind of squeaky Disney. Oh my God, princess voice. So that's the rundown for tonight. That's what happened. And yeah, there was some drama. There's gonna be a lot of drama on this show. Chris made his picks, no question. He sent some decent girls, but um, I don't think he made any mistakes, really. I maybe would have kept a wedding cake decorator. I don't know, at least was my type. But yeah, he didn't really make any mistakes. Maybe Tara didn't deserve to really stay on, but he saw something in her and most definitely wanted to keep her around, so he did. It will be remains to be seen actually if she's gonna stick it out or how she gonna do because there's a warning sign with her, especially if she gets drunk on a first night. You know, there's a lot to be said for that, and kind of worrisome in a sense. Might not be his girl after all. And then, as we're coming down to the end of the podcast right here, so obviously we got a preview of the season, and it looks like a heck of a season we have ahead. Apparently, Chris does something that kind of is going to set off the women in a house. It's definitely something sexually related. So either they're almost hinting like he's going to get someone pregnant, which I really doubt is the case. He might have unprotected sex with one of them in a tent, apparently. Um, and I'm sure he's going to make the best of his overnights, but there's definitely drama with him potentially, obviously having sex with someone, but maybe getting someone pregnant or having a pregnancy scare that's going to set the house on alert, to say the least. So that's something to watch out for sure. And there's moments of Chris just crying and him losing the trust of the women in the house. So he's going to have to redeem himself in some way. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. And that's really going to kind of carry the drama of the season, really. What's going to happen there. So my picks for hometown predictions, hometown dates, and I will start off with almost making the cut, the runners up, basically the Marcus and Chris himself of Andy's season by comparison. The women who just might get there but probably won't. They'll be probably down to the final 5 or 6. I think Becca is just gonna miss the cut. Obviously, we talked about how smoking hot she is and how much of a threat she seemed to pose for everyone in the house. I don't think she's gonna get through. I think her looks are gonna go only so far. And there's that Tracy. The teacher seems down to earth from Florida. Seems like someone Chris is gonna get to know and might like, but ultimately missing the cut. Now, my hometown predictions. Caitlin, the crazy, wild, hot instructor from Vancouver who already got Chris's attention in the premiere episode by showing him some dance moves, I guess, making him do some weird stuff. Apparently it worked. She's got some sort of effect on him. She's crazy, and I think he kind of likes it. I think she's definitely making hometown. Then there's Britt. Obviously, the first impression, first kiss he gave to any woman in the house went to Britt. So I think she's going to stick around. She's got something going. She seems pretty genuine, and who would have thought for a Hollywood waitress? Then there's Jade. I think she has the it factor. Jade is one of those girls that has a lot going for her, seems genuine, successful. I think Chris is going to connect with the whole Nebraska thing, her being from there. I think there's a lot to be said for Jade. and of course Kelsey, the widowed, basically girl that had her husband slash fiance, not sure what it was, die, and she's kind of looking again for love. I think she's definitely one to keep an eye on, and she's seen in a lot of the promo that shows the future episodes. Seems to be heavily involved in them. So my final two will be Kelsey and Britt. I think Britt's got something going on with Chris. That immediate impression makes me kind of think of her as the Claire of Juan Pablo's season. Not the crazy part, just how that immediate connection Juan Pablo had with Claire got her really deep in the show all the way to the end. Basically meant a lot, that initial attraction. And I think she's the same way with Chris. I think Britt's going to go to the end. And I have Kelsey. I think Kelsey's really the ideal girl for Chris. If she can put behind her tragic past kind of events and be ready for a commitment again, and that's a big question, but I think she's wife material. I think she would be the one that would actually move. She seems kind of very adventurous and like a hiker type of girl. I think she would move to Iowa with him and genuinely be up for and interested in a marriage. I think she's the one, really, when it comes down to it in the end. I think Chris will pick Kelsey to be the winner of the show, and I think that's what is going to happen. I think Britt and Kelsey, it's going to be a neck-and-neck race throughout, with Kelsey coming away with it in the end. I think she has ultimately what it takes. I think she's mature enough, and she's been through a marriage, and in a deep commitment. And I think that's what Chris ultimately wants, and he's saying it all the way through. So we shall see what happens. Kelsey is my pick to be the winner of The Bachelor season. Chris Soules season. A lot more in store this season on The Bachelor. There's going to be a lot of drama. This seems like a really, really interesting year and season for the show. Kind of unexpected. You didn't know what to really think because of the whole interesting concept of Chris being a farmer and the way everything he's kind of brought up. But it's going to be interesting. There are crazy women on here, and that's what brings drama. So the Women of the Corn is officially underway. And thanks for joining me on the podcast right here on iTunes, on the Bachelor Universe podcast. Make sure to check me out and my Bachelor blog on a weekly basis. Some more inside information on chicagonow.com, Bachelor/Universe. So if you just Google Bachelor Universe, you probably find it. And that's the way to catch me. So thanks for joining me. Hopefully I have some surprises this season on the podcast. Might be bringing on some guests. So always take a look at that on the blog. And make sure you're tuning in every week right here on the Bachelor blog on Bachelor Universe Talk. Right, me, your host, Jim Alexander. Until next week, talk to you later.